When we talk about AI, most people's minds jump straight to complex code and algorithms. But what if I told you the real story is actually about geometry? Yeah, it's a story that plays out on a very structured, very specific kind of stage. And it's a story of just two big ideas, embedded and inscribed. So let's set that stage.
Okay, just for a second, I want you to clear your mind. I want you to picture complete and total emptiness.
Nothing. No data, no structure, not a single thing. Just a blank canvas, kind of waiting for something to happen.
And then, bam, out of that darkness, a structure appears. A perfect, clean grid of intersecting lines. And this grid, this is the foundation for our entire story today.
This grid is our stage. It's a system built on nothing but straight lines and right angles. A world of pure order where every single point has a precise, knowable address, a coordinate. And this whole stage is defined by those core rules, right? Straight lines, perfect axes. It's all about providing order, structure, and absolute precision. This is the fundamental space where AI begins to organize information. All right, so our stage is set. It's empty, but it's ready. So what's next? Well, now it's time for our actors to arrive. And this brings us to our first huge concept, embedding data. Think of any piece of information as an actor. A stock price, it gets mapped to a specific spot on the y-axis. A moment in time, it gets aligned perfectly along the x-axis. Any other feature you can imagine, it gets positioned precisely within this system. Every piece of data finds its exact spot on the stage. And that, right there, is all embedding really is. It's the simple, almost mechanical act of just assigning coordinates to data inside this structured space. We're not doing anything smart yet, not at all. We're just organizing the raw information. So the grid is now populated with all these little data points. It's quiet, it's ready. But this raises a really big question. We have all this structured data, but where's the actual intelligence? Where's the insight? And that question, well, it brings us right to Act 2. This is where the magic really starts to happen, where the real intelligence begins to wake up. We're moving from simply placing data to uncovering its meaning. This is inscribed intelligence. And all of a sudden, those static little points start to connect. The system begins to see patterns forming between them. A diagonal line might emerge, revealing a trend. A boundary appears, separating one group of data from another. And out of all this, a signal is born, a rule, an insight like, hey, if this feature is less than 0.52, we should probably expect a downside. Now, this is so important. Get this. The intelligence wasn't something we fed into the system. It wasn't just another data point. No, it emerged from the relationships between the data points. The system learned it all on its own. And this whole process is what we call inscription. It's when those learned relationships and patterns get written or inscribed directly into the fabric of the model itself. It's the story the system has learned to tell about the data. Okay, so let's put these two powerful ideas side by side, because on one hand, we have raw data, and on the other, we have true understanding. So on the embedded side, it's pretty simple. It's just where the data lives, the raw coordinates, the simple placement of information. But on the inscribed side, that's a whole different ballgame. That's what the system actually understands, the patterns that emerge, the story that gets decoded from those raw coordinates. Now, I know this might all sound a little abstract, so let's bring it down to earth and ground it in a very real, very high-stakes world, quantitative finance, and the hunt for market alpha. In a trading system, all the raw data, tick-by-tick prices, financial ratios, the whole shebang, that stuff is all embedded. But your edge, your alpha, that comes from the inscribed logic. It's the trend-following rule or the breakout signal that your model has learned. And this is exactly why this matters. The market doesn't pay you for having perfectly organized data. It pays you for the unique, profitable insights that you can inscribe, the story that you can read from inside all that data. So, as we wrap this up, remember this. The underlying structure, that rectilineal grid, is constant. It's the unchanging stage where this whole play unfolds. The facts, the figures, all the raw information that is simply embedded onto the grid. But the alpha, the intelligence, the competitive advantage, that has to be inscribed within it. So the final question I'll leave you with isn't just about what data you have. It's about the story that's unfolding within it.
What intelligence, what edge is being inscribed in your system?